people like to welcome you all to the show, Verbal Pick Video, that is, right? So we're gonna get into some things, and I want you all to ride with me because I'm gonna take my time on this one because I want to set it up. We're doing this live, right? So let me get going, though. We'll do it like this way because see, since they're having these woke debates, right? Bear with me. Since they're having these woke debates, a lot of knowledge that was you could easily Google, all right? You got to put certain keywords in there because they don't want you to just readily get this information, right? Here we go. Omar Ibn Said from Senegal wrote the Quran by memory, right? He wrote that for, that's how Thomas Jefferson got that Quran, right? And the point I was just trying to make was, here are slaves, right, in America. We can debate whether these slaves were already here, whether they came from Africa through slavery or whatnot. But the point that I'm making is, here was a slave that had the Quran memorized, and he wrote it down, right, by memory, the Quran, right. Now think about it. No slave wrote the Bible down by memory. It didn't happen, right? So that tells you that majority of the slaves that were in America was Muslims who got converted to Christianity. Is the point I want to make, right? Because why? No slave in America didn't know anything about Christianity until it was taught to them by the colonizer, and I'm using that word, right? And he gave now think about this. The colonizer never gave the slaves anything that could make the slaves compete with the colonizer, right? All the way down from diet, right? The slaves wasn't eating high off the hog, right? They wasn't eating the best portion. The slave got the ears, got the nose, got the brain, got the tail, and got the guts, right? And they made chitlins out the guts. They made because they had no choice, right? Think about it. You, for self-preservation and in order to survive, they had no choice but to do certain things to survive, right? Common sense. The problem was, after the so-called Emancipation Proclamation, we didn't give the colonizer back what he gave us because he never gave us anything that was beneficial, right? Including what? Religion. He didn't give us the proper teaching of Jesus or Jesus the Christ, right? He gave us the false Jesus. He never gave us the real Jesus. You was never taught the real Jesus, right? That's why I got to give a shout out to Jay-Z, because if you haven't watched the Book of Clarence, you must watch the Book of Clarence because he breaks it all down in that movie. And actually, I'm going to break down the Book of Clarence for you guys, right? But I just want to say that it wouldn't be beneficial for the colonizer to give you the same Jesus that he believed in or worshiped, because that would make you his equal. He had to give you the false Jesus so he can stay in control over you. And as Will and Nish said, it would last for thousands of years, right? And that's what he did. He's not going to give you, you're not going to go into the Bible looking at it the same way that the colonizer looked at it. He's going to train you to go into that book and read it as a slave, and he's going to read it as the owner, as the ruler, right? And so they're going to, so it's two different mindsets at work here, and that's just part of the game. You know what I mean? He wants to show his superiority, not because physically or mentally he's superior. It's not about that. It's about, let me muddy up the knowledge. Let me deny them the right to read and write for over 450 years, right? So I can walk over, so he can stick his chest out with the knowledge in books and say, hey, look what I know and look what you don't know. And I know this because I can read English, and you don't know this because I'm keeping these books away from you. So I can put myself on a pedestal. And that's what happened. Now let's break down the Book of Clarence real quick. Okay. Clarence represented all black men or black people in America who are being crucified, and that's a representation of the Jesus, saying that the black man and the black woman, we are Jesus, meaning that, well, look at the Romans. Where's your past? They showed their disdain for the original people, right? And so Clarence represented, that's one form of Jesus, right? Being crucified under the Roman authority, which is still taking place in today's time, right? That was one Jesus, right? Now the Jesus that, I'm going to show y'all, the Jesus that you all got, or the Jesus that they gave to our ancestors, was Bar Jesus, and you can read about him in Acts. Hold on, I'm finna go Google it right now. Remember I told y'all, we're doing this live, right? We're doing this live. We're gonna go to Acts. Hold on. Let's see. Okay. Now look, it says this. This is Acts. This is the King James version, 6, 7. I'm trying to get. Now I'll go back and give you the actual verse. It starts off with 6 though in Google, right at the top of the page. And when they had gone through the isle unto Paphos, they found a certain sorcerer, right, a false prophet, a Jew, whose name was Bar Jesus, right, which was one of the deputy of the country, Syracuse, Paulus, a prudent man, right, who called for Barnabas and Saul and desired to hear the word of God, right? Hold on, we'll get there, keep going. Okay, we keep going, we'll read some more. Now this is 13 and 6. This is Acts 13, 6 through 12. And this is the first I read was from the King James Version. This is from the New International Version, right? The NIV. They traveled through the whole island until they came to Paphos. There they met a Jewish sorcerer and a false prophet named Bar Jesus, right? Who was an attendant of the proconsul Syracuse, Paulus, the proconsul, an intelligent man, right? Sent for Barnabas and Saul because he wanted to hear the word of God. But Elymas, right, which Bar Jesus, the sorcerer, for that is what his name means, right? Right? Because his name was Bar Jesus, but Alignment means sorcerer, so they call him Alignment the sorcerer. Okay, and that's what his names mean. Opposed them and tried to turn the proconsul from the faith. Right. Then Saul, who was also called Paul, filled with the Holy Spirit, looked straight at Bar Jesus, right, and said, "You are a child of the devil." Right? That's why they was calling black folk little devils. You are the child of the devil and an enemy of everything that is right. You are full of all kinds of deceit and trickery. Will you never stop perverting the right ways of the Lord? Now the hand of the Lord is against you. You are going to be blind for a time, not even able to see the light of the sun. Immediately mist and darkness came over him, and he groped about, seeking someone to lead him by the hand. When the proconsul saw what had happened, he believed, for he was amazed at the teaching about the Lord. That is the Jesus that your council or that your colonizer gave to the black people in America. Bar Jesus, right? That was one. That's another Jesus, right? That whole, if your master is cold, the slave, give him your coat. That whole Christmas and the Easter bunny and sorcery, and that's how Bar Jesus. That if you split the pole, you got to go back around. You wondering why his neighborhoods look a certain way, predominantly white neighborhoods look a certain way, why predominantly black neighborhoods in the hood look a certain way, because the preachers and the your grandparents and what the colonizers taught your forefathers and our forefathers and our forebearers about Christianity. They gave you the teachings that he had of Bar Jesus, and we've been passing that down for generations. That's the Jesus they gave us, right? That's one. Okay. Now, the second Jesus is Barabbas. All right, I want y'all to look that up. I'm gonna read it, but I'm gonna look it up for you guys since we're doing this thing live, right? I'm googling it. You know what I'm saying? I'm googling it, right? Hold on. I'm gonna show y'all. Wait. Okay. Okay. Now, this is Google. Y'all can check all this out on Google. I don't know if y'all can see it in the light, but just Google Jesus Barabbas, because Barabbas' first name was Jesus. Bar means son, and Abba means father. So Barabbas was Jesus, son of the Father, too. Right? Okay. Yeah, look at it. It says is Barabbas, son of the Father. Okay, the name Barabbas is the first of these. It is an Aramaic name combining two nouns, Bar meaning son and Abba meaning father. His first name was Jesus, right? Jesus Barabbas, son of the Father, right? There you go. What did Jesus Barabbas do? It says Matthew tells us that this man's full name was Jesus Barabbas, which means Jesus, son of the Father. Look, he was a violent rebel who fomented an insurrection against the Roman occupation, and who Matthew says was quite a popular figure. And why not? The Jews hated the occupation too. Now, check this out. Barabbas' first name was Jesus, right? But look at what they said. They got us thinking, and when you talk to any Christian, right, and you ask them about Barabbas, first they don't even know his first name was Jesus, right? Then when they go back and research, then they'll come back and say, well, Jesus was a popular name back then. There was a lot of people named Jesus, right? Okay. But his first name was Jesus Bar Barabbas, meaning Jesus, Son of the Father. He was on that cross too, right? Now, check this out. Show you how black power, the colonizer gave us, black people, the mind of the colonizer, right? When you hear Christians talk about Barabbas, right? They repeat the same thing the Romans say about him, right? He was a violent rebel who fomented an insurrection against the Roman Empire, right? An insurrection. The rebel, Jesus. You see, they talking about Trump submitted an insurrection against the government. They know, see, the colonizer knows the characteristic and attributes of each person in that Bible whose name was Jesus. And they kept that away from black people. Now, show you how black people got the mind of the colonizer, right? Now, here is Barabbas, right? He fought against the Romans because, of course, the Romans are going to write about him in a horrible way because he fought against the Romans. He killing Romans. He meaning he refused to be a slave. Right? So that mindset of Jesus Barabbas you couldn't have. So they had to make Jesus Barabbas this horrible, evil figure, that you should stay away from. But he fought the Romans. He took from the Romans and gave it to the poor. He was a revolutionary of his day, him and his men, right? That's why when they had Jesus Barabbas up on the cross and asked the people, who do you want to let down? They said, let down Jesus Barabbas. Now, the Romans didn't like it. Like, y'all gonna choose this thief, this murderer, this whatever. But he was a man of the people. They were like, look, this man fought side by side with us. This man protected us against you, the Romans. Of course, we finna let him off the cross, right? He had he was physical. He was hands-on. He was, was like, nah, you finna let my people go, or we all finna storm the Capitol. We finna tear Rome up, right? That was Jesus Bar Abba, or Jesus Barabbas, right? Bar Abbas, meaning Jesus, Son of the Father. Look it up. Okay. Then you got the fourth Jesus, because you had Clarence was playing the conquered, the sacrificed black man, fighting against the Romans, meaning being crucified against the Romans every day. No freedom, no rights. They just always want to keep their foot on the people's neck, right? Then you had the Jesus that the colonizer gave to black people, which was Bar Jesus, the sorcerer, right? Then the colonizer, he follows Jesus Barabbas as on a physical plane, meaning he's like, look, you not finna hold on, y'all. Hold on, y'all. Something went wrong, but we working on it. We got a little technical difficulties. All right, hold on. Technical difficulties. All right, we back. We still rolling. Okay, still rolling. We had a little technical difficulties, right? But you had the Bar Jesus, which is what they gave the black man and woman. His characteristics. They taught you how to be like, or they taught you Bar Jesus characteristics, right? To keep you away from Jesus Barabbas, right? So you had the black man, right, which represents the crucifixion of Jesus. Then you had Bar Jesus, the sorcerer, right? Then you had Jesus Barabbas, which was Jesus, Son of the Father, was the revolutionary who put hands on the aggressor. That's why America is like, we will defend ourselves, right? If they coming from that spirit of Jesus Barabbas, right? Then you got Jesus the Christ, the passionate one, and that's saying one hand, yeah, Jesus the Christ, we can be passionate, but on this hand, we can be Jesus Barabbas. You know what I mean? Where we will get physical with you. So you got the physical and you got the psychological, right? You got the physical, and you got the passionate. You got Jesus Barabbas, Son of the Father, and you got Jesus the Christ, Son of the Father, and they both on the cross, right? Those are split natures. Those are the natures that you have within you, right? You protect or self-preserve or self-preservation for yourself, for your family, for your property, right? And for your liberty, right? That is Jesus Barabbas. You got Jesus the Christ, the compassionate one, is that you love your family, you love your neighbor, you love as you love yourself, right? You can show compassionate care, concern to others, and when you combine them two, right? Now you whole. Now you whole. Now you whole. You know what I mean? Now you're not being stepped on. You're not taking no abuse. You're not being a second class citizen. You thinking like every other free and wise man thinks, because they understand who is who, right? So now with this, hopefully you will understand who is who and give them back. That's why you would hear Honorable Elijah Muhammad, you hear Farrakhan, you hear Noble Drew Ali, you hear Garvey in the way they talk. You give them back their names, give them back their religion, because you're free now. But if you want to stay under that, of course, you will see the two differences within the functioning. Now, those who have knowledge and knowledge of self, you see how they move, versus those who don't have the knowledge. But when you get the proper knowledge, that's why I say study to show thyself approved, right? When you get the proper knowledge, things start changing around you. You start noticing things. You start fixing things. You start getting things together. You start taking pride in what you do. You start taking pride within yourself, your community, your people. You know, you'll be the first to say, no, this is not what we do or how we do it. You know what I mean? So, with that being said, go back and study and find out how to conquer that sorcerer, Bar Jesus, that he taught us about in Christianity. Because we got to remember, as I started out, there was no slave that translated that Bible word for word in English as Ibn Said did the Quran for Thomas Jefferson. This is slave that to let you know that we came and we've been Muslims in this country. We've been here. We were converted, and they gave us the wrong meats and the wrong dietary law. I mean, look at why, now I'm gonna show you why. When you look at these studies, right? Black people dying of diabetes, dying of heart failure, heart disease, arteries clogged, high cholesterol, right? Because wrong Jesus, Bar Jesus, he saucy. He ain't caring about no diet and eating the right foods and eating right and none of that. They made his attributes our attributes, and we Christmas, Easter, all these pagan holidays he's the Jesus over that. We celebrate it, and we get the results of that one Bar Jesus that we celebrate, that they gave us, is what we see in real time, and black on black crime, and we dying. And when they compare races, the white races number one, and where they ain't as dying as high numbers as we are due to diet and uh, infant mortality. Uh, we leading in that, and they're not, because they follow something totally different. They doing something totally different in their churches than what they gave us to do in our churches during slavery time, to what we carrying on today. And many, it's been passed down for generation, right? It's time to cut that. It's time to cut it, because the proof in the pudding, we can look at the two. We're not operating under the same knowledge. They didn't give us the same knowledge. They're not going to give this colonizer is not going to give the slaves the same thing he got. He want to stay in control. He's not going to have the same knowledge. He's not going to give you the same thing, right? He's going to give you something to keep you where he can keep his hands on you, where he can keep you up under him, you know. And if you waiting on him to free you, it never happen. You have to free yourself. You have to free yourself. He's not going to free you. It's not in his best interest. You know, you can't blame him. You can't. But they say, don't hate the player, hate the game. You know what I'm saying? He the game. He running the game. He playing the game, because that game has been played centuries back in time. We can go on for days. I can break down. The indentured servant game versus the slave game. And things changed because somebody didn't like the game and wanted to formulate the game to fit their benefit. So new rules would get applied, new laws would get passed when they feel like they not winning. And if they got the power of the pen, well, I just scratched this out and a new law. And they won't even tell you about the law, and you wonder why you getting jammed up. Oh, your leaders didn't tell you. Your politicians, your community activists, your community leaders didn't tell you that this new law was passed January the 1st. Hey, I put it in the paper. They flash it on the news. I don't watch the news. I don't read the papers. Okay, but hey, ignorance, no excuse of the law. It's a game. Vote Pick Radio. We can be at this all day. But look, before I go, accountability is coming soon. You got to check that out. Reason being, why am I dropping this knowledge? Because I watched the Book of Clarence. The Sean Carter, Jay-Z done a great job on the Book of Clarence. Everybody should watch it and understand it. Show that brother some props. It should have done much better in the movie theater. It should have done. Everybody should be talking about it and discussing that movie. Whatever you said about Jay-Z, I'm from Houston, man. Whatever you said about, I don't know New York politics. You know what I'm saying? But I do know he dropped some science in the Blueprint, right? And he dropped some science in his Book of Clarence. So maybe that might be his way of giving back. People say, "Oh, you know how they say you don't give back to the community." Well, everybody gives back in their own way, right? It's not gonna all be the same way, but people do give back. You write a book that's giving back. You do. You drop 16 bars, 14 bars, 12 bars on knowledge, and you drop some knowledge within those bars, you giving back. If it wakes up somebody, man, and help them have a better day, or put them on a path to a better life, that's giving back. You know what I mean? So y'all stay tuned. Accountability coming. Shout out to everybody. Kingdom Kush, J-Town Production, N2G. What's up, MVP? You know what I'm saying? The writer. You know what I'm saying? Wayne Johnson. Everybody that participated in accountability. You know what I'm saying? Jamal Smith. What's up, J. Ken? Tiva. Everybody, man. Y'all out there. We steady grinding. Don't let it stop. Ready, we out.